So, when I say Rudy, Field of Dreams, League of Their Own, Raging Bull, Bull Durham, Jerry Maguire, Rocky, what's one of the first things that comes to your mind?
Where's the melanin?
Almost. No. If you happen to be out there and you said to yourself, oh, those are classic but overhyped movies that seem to have gotten a whole lot more attention than what they deserve, then yeah, you'd pretty much be right.
But he tried so big to be so small.
Try this big, so small. Welcome, brothers and sisters. My name is Sam Robinson, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Black Reviewer's Perspective. Today, I'm going to be talking about sports movies, and it pains me whenever I see Hollywood and the things that Hollywood seems to focus on. They tend to overlook some of the great films which, sports-wise, which are part of the black diaspora, such as 42, Creed, the recent biopic T-Rex, Hurricane, Ali, Akeelah and the Bee, Coach Carter. These movies are never brought up in the narrative or in the conversation when people talk about what are some of the greatest sports movies of all time type deal. And that's very unfortunate because they deserve better than what they're getting. I myself was never the biggest fan of sports movies, at least not until I saw Creed. Now, of course, I watched movies, like I said, such as Akeelah and Coach Carter, but I never really got into, sports films in general until that film. And if you want to see my thoughts on that, you can look up my actual written review that I did on Creed about a year or so ago, and it should be showing up right here on the screen. But recently, my wife and I went to see the Queen of Katwe, and it's a film about the world's first Ugandan chess master. I believe she became a chess master at I want to say like 13 or 14. But a brilliant young Ugandan girl by the name of Fiona. The movie Queen of Katwe, which was directed by Mira Nair, starred David Oyelowo and Lupita Nyong'o, but it also had quite a few unknowns who were African actors and actresses that were pulled into the Hollywood sphere in an uncharacteristically amazing show of diversity on Hollywood's behalf. Madelia Nawanga, Taryn Katwe, Ronald Sezaganda. Please forgive me for butchering these names. Unfortunately, I'm not as versed in many African dialects as I should be, being the person that I am.
That's not our fault.
But these up and comers, these new faces that were introduced through this movie, they were nothing short of brilliant as far as their acting in this movie. I mean, when you're playing off of the talents of people such as Lupita. I mean, you can't help but pick some of that up. But nevertheless, the casting for this film was very nearly spot on. It was very, very gorgeous. Outside of the enjoyable experience that I had watching this movie in general, nice theater with a quiet audience. There are a lot of things that there were to be had and enjoyed in this film. It was nice to see a film that was actually based in Africa, for instance. This isn't a movie that's starring some some country bumpkin guy out in the middle of the fields of Kansas somewhere. It's not somebody playing so that they can go and be seen in New York or play in Madison Square Garden or something of that nature. This is something different, something that we as Americans are not seeing a lot of. Even within our black films, a lot of them tend to be focused stateside on people who may be, of a different culture, but they're still immersed within American culture, so all you see is America. But here we got to see many of the towns and countrysides of many places in Africa, and it was beautiful to see that. It was beautiful to see our culture represented properly and thoughtfully in a film, beautifully caught through gorgeous cinematography. The movie was very, very well paced. And a lot of this has to, lends itself to the great directing, and the great directing of the film. There was also an outstanding soundtrack that was done for this film, and a lot of it is music that's actually part of the African culture. There wasn't a lot of Americanized music, although there was the ending song in particular that kind of stood out because it was an American song done by an American songwriter, and I don't want to say it detracted from the film because it didn't, but it just felt out of place when you have an entire 2 hours worth of African-based music, and then we have American pop, and I'm sorry, not really pop, but American R&B kind of, and it didn't really feel like it belonged there. But hey, we gotta have some people. You gotta have something there for the mainstream American audiences to buy the soundtrack, I suppose. So there's that. There were quite a few tropes within this film that are staples, unfortunately, of many Hollywood sports films. The everything comes down to the big game at the end, and troubled youth, who's secretly brilliant, finds something that they can attach themselves to within sports that helps them find their way in life, or learning life lessons as you learn how to play, X, Y, or Z game. A lot of these tropes, rear their head in this film, but it was handled so well, and many of them were so expertly executed that you did not mind them being there. Never once did I sit back in this film and say, oh, here comes the big game speech. Even though they had the big speech, and even though they had, the moment where the main character stumbles during a play in the big game and the coach has to pick him up, I never said to myself, oh, she's about to fail here. Now coach is going to have to wrap his arms around her. Those things happened, but they didn't feel like they were forced. Everything that happened in the movie felt natural. And and that's a great boon to the level of acting and the scripting in the film. There was also a great show of something that is also very or far too rarely seen in Hollywood, and that's black love. The characters of, and please forgive me while I go to IMDb for a moment. David Oyelowo and Esther, a young woman by the name of Esther Tabandiki. They play the married couple of Robert and Sarah Katende. Robert was Fiona's chess coach in the film, and he was a lover of children. He did a lot of work outside of, instituting this chess club, for children, that he did for free. He coached, soccer, in his off time. He just really loved being around and helping children. And Sarah was his wife. And one of the tropes that this movie avoided, and I hope that since this is a true story, that it was actually like this in real life. But one of the tropes that they happened to avoid was the coach having his own personal demons that he wrestles with, and having a really bad family life, and finding strength within the young person that they're coaching. That never happened. And that's one of the things that I was honestly in the back of my mind kind of waiting for, because Hollywood loves to do that type of shit. But there was never a moment where this couple wasn't there for each other at all. There was even a turning point in the movie, which, because I'm not a spoiler person, I won't tell you about, but there was a moment in the movie where the coach has to make a big life-changing decision, and he tells his spouse, and his spouse is completely okay with it. She was like, okay, well, I love you, and this is why I love you, and we're gonna roll with this. And that was heartwarming. It was wonderful. Speaking of heartwarming, there was more than one time when this movie had me either on the verge of tears or crying. And my wife, being the woman that she is, I guess she, heard me sniffling once or twice, and she'd reach over and she'd be like, "It's okay, don't cry." And, doing the man, I'm not crying, got some shit in my eye. But no, the movie hits you. It's, if a movie doesn't make you feel something, if it doesn't make you feel hate, or if it doesn't make you feel love, or if it doesn't make you feel excitement, or or even sadness or joy, if a movie doesn't make you feel some kind of way, then regardless of what that movie was supposed to be, it fucking failed. A movie is supposed to make you feel something. You go to an action movie, you should be on the edge of your seat, at least a little bit. You go to a comedy, you should be laughing. When you go to a drama, you should be on a little bit of a roller coaster. If you're not doing something, if you're just sitting there, blank face, staring at your watch, that movie fucking failed. And Queen of Katwe, it succeeds and surpasses in all aspects. It is a very emotional movie, and if you don't feel at some point like you want to cry, Jesus, you're dead inside. Like it's bad for you. There's no hope. But and the movie even managed to make ending title cards somewhat interesting. Normally, you have a movie and they don't know how to end it, or if they've gone as far as they can with the story and it's wrap up time, then screen fades to black and you'll get a little title card that says, such and such, after defeating the Red Army, went back home and lived in quiet seclusion with his wife and family, blah, 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 blah. Movies with like life-ending title cards, they're a dime a dozen. Queen of Katwe actually does a great job of doing something different with the title card ending, whereas they actually showed the actor or actress for a particular part showed their real life counterpart, and you got to see them interact while the title card for that real life counterpart came up on the screen and told you about what they did after the events of the film. And I thought that that was rather refreshing also, because there are a lot of times when you do see a movie that's based on real life events or based on a real person, and you say to yourself, oh, well, let me go and Google that person, because maybe in the back of your mind you want to know more about them, or you want to see how closely they resemble, the person who's portraying them in the film. And I thought this was nice because you got that, it was almost like immediate satisfaction within that aspect, that you got to see immediately who these people were, and you got to read a little bit about them. And I just thought that that was a really nice way to do that. So, all in all, this is a film that I unfortunately feel will be recognized in the short term, because the people who've seen it, they all have glowing things to say about it. All the reviews are very positive. Metacritic scores, freaking IMDb scores, Rotten Tomatoes. Everything is on the higher end of the scale, between like 7.5 to 8 out of 10s to 80 to 90% of 100%, or whatever it may be, 3 to 4 out of 5 stars, whatever. But unfortunately, in the long term, I feel like, for no other reason than it focuses on black culture and or rather African culture, and the African portion of the black diaspora, and it's so different from what most American audiences are used to seeing, namely the white American audiences, that it's going to end up falling into that same realm of semi-obscurity that things like Ali and Akeelah and the Bee and Coach Carter have fallen into. And I just honestly don't see it reaching like a league of their own type status. And that's...
What the hell is a league of their own?
It was a baseball movie and World War II about women and baseball. But anyway, personally, I'd give this movie a 9 out of 10. It's really almost perfect. And I'm not, as I said before, I'm not a big sports movie person. I'm not even a big biop person, outside of, stuff like, once again, 42 or the James Brown story. The movie about James Brown.
Yes, Get On Up.
Get On Up, or T-Rex, but this movie was wonderful to me and on both parts, and I plan on buying it on Blu-ray. If you find a movie that does well and it deserves recognition, you should give it your fucking money. You vote with your wallet so that we can get more of these type of movies. I did not see enough of Us in this movie theater. Actually, my wife and I were the only ones of Us in this movie theater. There were like 10 other couples in there, or 10 other groups of people, and they were all white. And that, I can't help but look at this and say, outside of the fact that the grouping for this showing was way too fucking small, way too few people are seeing this film, I can't help but ask myself, where are our people with movies like this? But I can't blame it all on Us, because honestly, the promotion for this movie has also been,
and it was
just
trying to find somewhere to watch.
Yeah, it was the promotion for this film. It was atrocious. The promotion was garbage. It wasn't promoted near enough, almost not at all. It was only shown on a handful of screens, actually around one screen per movie theater at one freaking time, and that was it. And like I said, we went to see this 2 weeks out. So this was a new movie, and by the time we decided to see it, it actually disappeared from movie theaters nearly altogether. There wasn't a single theater in our immediate area that was showing this film. I actually had to do a widespread Google search and find something all the way out, like 30 miles away in freaking Bee Cave. Who the fuck names the town Bee Cave? Bee Cave, freaking Texas. And we had to drive all the way out there just to see this film, which, mind you, was also only being shown on one screen at like 3 times. That is unacceptable. Had this been any other film that wasn't black, it would have gotten more than that. And I know that it would have. People, you need to see this movie. You need to see this movie. It deserves it. It's begging for it. Had they given it the promotion that it deserved and shown it on the screens that it required, it would have easily been an Oscar contender. Easily. This movie is that good. So if you can find it, go see it. If you can't find it, then rent it, because that counts. And when you rent it, you'll want to buy it. So guess what? When it comes out on DVD and Blu-ray, buy it. Give these people your money. We need more films like this within, Hollywood. And why? Yeah, vote with your wallets. And why should we do this? Because it's us. See, this is us. And this is what Queen of Katwe is. Open your minds, people. See something different.
See us.
See us. See yourselves, my brothers and sisters. As I said on my last review, I apologize for this review running long. However, it is shorter than my last one. I'm working on whittling it down. Please be sure to check out my next video, which I believe I'm going to be doing The Accountant and starring Ben Affleck. And let me give you a quick preview of that one. It's motherfucking awesome. So, once again, I'm Sam Robinson. Thank you for tuning in to another Black Perspective review.